It's now time for the VP Playback. Let's go. The VP Playback is back, so let's go to Elizabethton, Tennessee, where the Elizabethton Cyclones take on the Science Hill Hilltoppers. Always a big showdown. As you can see, the teams warming up. The fans you saw earlier already packing the place up. You see the cheerleaders, and there are the refs getting ready for the game, and WCRB's there. And you know what? They acknowledged the late, great Danny Smith just before the game. So there's his family. There's the ROTC from the Cyclones. And, of course, there's the Elizabethton Betsy band as they're walking onto the field. And there you can see right there's my cousin. There's Malagra. Shout out to her and the Betsy band. Always do an excellent job. And there's Miss Tuffy and Mr. Tuffy over there, running up the caboose. Anyway, it's almost game time. So Elizabethton Cyclones come out with the smoke and the flags and all the players. And you can see, man, this is going to be an incredible game. I can already tell. I can feel it in the air as the Cyclones looking to keep the streak going. They're 4-0 in the last 4 years, and they're hoping to make it number 5 tonight. And guess what? There he is, Coach Sean Witten. And there's Miss Carly.
Good evening. We would like to welcome the Science Hill Hilltoppers, along with students, parents, and fans, to Citizens Bank Stadium.
Miss Carly Boyd doing the welcome. And there's Deb Gooch in the chorus. Excellent job once again from the Elizabethton chorus. You can see the captains walking out to the field. There's Cade, Nate, Dalton, and Teddy. And it looks like the Elizabethton Cyclones won the toss. And of course, you know what they like to do. They like to run it down the field right off the bat. So they're taking the ball. And there's the Cyclones with the, look at the Cyclone fans. Are those black painted on little t-shirts there they got on? Anyway, you see they're fired up and ready. And the kick is off by number 82 Palmer. And he kicks a little pooch kick to the Cyclones to make sure that they don't get a return back. And they stopped him a little short of midfield. But there's Mr. Dryer Griffith filling the big shoes of the great Bryson Rollins, who we lost last year due to being a senior. But there he is, Griffith finding Nate Stevens to keep the drive alive. And it's 3rd down, and this time it looks like Griffith goes to the other side, and he finds Mr. Teddy Orton, and he's a track star, and he's marching his way right down the sidelines. And the Elizabethton Cyclones got Big Mo on the side this time. Griffith finds, there he is, Nate the Great, and there he is for another 1st down. And it's hard to stop those Cyclones. Very talented team, a lot of talent on that team. This time they go to the senior, Cade, Mr. Hustle Russell, as he just busts right up the middle for another great gain. And this time, Jariah Griffith decides to call his own number, and he keeps it, and he takes it around the end, and he takes it around to the 11-yard line, and the Elizabethton Cyclones are off to a great start. This time, Jariah Griffith tries to go, but he goes nowhere as the Hilltoppers had his number. But this time, Elizabethton Cyclones starting to lose little Big Mo. Offsides, backs him up. This time, Griffith looks to go high in the sky. He finds the corner end zone. Nate the Great throw! Could have been a touchdown, but way out of the zone. So decided to go for the 3 points, and Mason Williams misses the 3-point opportunity. That switches the ball back over to the Science Hill Hilltoppers. As you can see, Deshaun Schwartz hands it off to that was Micah Dukes, and he was nowhere to go. And looks like the Elizabethton Cyclones are stubborn on defense, not allowing anything to happen. But look who's getting loose. Number 5, keeping the drive alive, Tyler Moon, as he takes it across midfield to keep the Hilltopper drive going early in the 1st quarter. So anyway, this time they decide to give it to Mr. Chester, and he busts up the moon. He indicates, hey, that's a 1st down. And they decide to call his numbers again, but not this time. The Cyclones had his number. They smelt that one, and nowhere to go. But this time, Butter, that's what they call him, smooth as butter, but not this time. He tries to slide through, and the Cyclones once again stop him. But this time a little razzle-dazzle play, and the Cyclones snip that one out as well. And nowhere to go as Eli and the crew take him down. And this time, Schwartz goes around, and he's dusted down in the backfield, and I believe that was the linebacker core that took care of that. Anyway, switches the ball back over to the Cyclones. This time the Cyclones looking to march down the field. But this time, pick! Number 22 knew what to do right there. Steven was able to sniff that one out for the Hilltoppers, and this time just real easy butter, smooth as butter. Takes it right to the middle for the first touchdown of the night, and the Hilltoppers up and the Cyclones down. And they're not looking too happy about it as the clock ticks away, and the Hilltoppers have an early lead, 7-0. As you see, I believe that's a dance team. Is that the Elizabethton Cyclones dance team this year? Or the jazz team, or I don't know. Anyway, there you go. Second quarter, Griffin calls his own number again, goes around the end, and he gets a little bit of yardage. This time, they have to punt, and Williams, he gets it blocked. Medina had a nice fingertip on it, and number 8, Derek Smith, was recovering the ball to give the Hilltoppers excellent field position, and this time, Chester finds his way into the end zone for another touchdown, and the Hilltoppers are up 14-0, and it's early in the second quarter. And oh boy, what are you going to do? Anyway, the kickoff. Kick is high. The kick is, fumbled out of bounds. And I don't know, a little bit of after a great start, now a little bit of a slow start. But anyway, Griffin decides to give it to the senior, Dalton Mitchell, but nowhere to go on the bubble screen there. And the Cyclones just looking desperately to try to get anything going. And Jariah Griffin finds his way stepping a few steps backwards. And oh boy, it's third down. Griffin decides to go this time to Cade Russell. And Cade, not much room, not any room. Maybe squeaks in maybe 1 yard. And the Cyclones forced to have to punt again. As you can see, personnel not all in place, and they're calling out people, get back, get out of here, get lined up. Anyway, Cyclones once again forced to punt deep in their own territory, but they get the punt off, but not a great punt, which is going to, of course, give the Hilltoppers great field position. So it's going to take that tough defense to be able to hold down the Hilltoppers, and you can see that defense is all in, as I believe that was Mason Ball in on the tackle. This time, Swartz decides to keep it himself, but boom, Eli said, nuh-uh, nowhere to go this time. You're not that smooth, Butter. But this time, Butter says, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll out, and I'm going to fly. Oh! Can't get his receiver because Nate Stevens was there to deflect the pass. So that's going to force the Hilltoppers to have to punt. So great job with the Elizabethton Cyclone defense. And the punt's high in the air. And Cade, I'm slowing it down because he's waving this one off, but boom. Unsportsmanlike hit, uncalled for hit, and you can see the Cyclones not liking it, and it starts a brawl in the Hilltoppers, and the Cyclones are throwing down in the wrong manner. And you can see the flags are just flying everywhere, helmets flying everywhere, and the coaches come out from both sidelines and try to slow things down and break things up and get things back under control between the Hilltoppers and the Cyclones. But oh my goodness, the boos are coming out because such a bad play there, targeting in a big manner that we don't like to see in a high school football game. Very, very dangerous hit that Cade had taken, so the referees are trying to figure out what to do. They, of course, got personal foul and targeting on the Hilltoppers, but oh boy. Cyclones fired up, and they try a little razzle-dazzle trick play. As you know, Dalton's the quarterback, and he finds almost able to get, I believe that was Teddy Orton there that he almost was able to connect with. But this time, Nate Stevens having to take over for Cade, and he finds some room up the middle for a pretty good gain. And this time, third down, Griffin calls his own number. He sneaks his way in for the first down to keep the drive alive just before the half. And this time, Griffin decided to go high in the sky. As you can see, right there is Teddy Orton waiting for the pass, and he catches it complete for the touchdown with under 40 seconds to go. And the Elizabethton Cyclones are on the board, looking to come back to make a magical moment of a victory come. But will it? We don't know, but I tell you what, the Cyclone fans are fired up and the kick is good, and the Cyclones have 7 points on the board as they look to sneak back into this game, keeping their hope alive. Only 39 seconds left before the half. Elizabethton, they got big ball back on the side. Whoop! And the ball gets loose high, and the fumble, as you can see, that Mason Ball ends up with it, but flags flying in the air. But You're going to probably see a little trouble there because, like I said, Kellen out of the game now, so they have to put their backup center. So you may see a few more of those in the game. But anyway, halftime, Cyclones 7. And they look to have Big Mo back on the side, and they're fired up, and they feel like a victory could be coming their way. But anyway, halftime show entertainment by Mr. Tuffy. He flies a T-shirt high in the air, so you're able to catch those free T-shirts. And there's Miss Tuffy, and she's helping Mr. Tuffy fire up another T-shirt in the air. But anyway, let's pick up in the second half. Whoop! Like I said, once again, ball gets loose, and the Cyclones not able to come up on it. Could be a huge ball gets loose again. Like I said, Hilltoppers had trouble the second half with the center exchange to the quarterback. But anyway, let's give the ball back over to the Cyclones. And a little quick pitch to Nate Stevens, and no room to go as he just sneaks in, barely made and I don't even know if he got a yard there. Anyway, ball gets back over to the Hilltoppers. As you can see, not much going on here in the second half. And the Hilltoppers look to go high in the sky, and they find deep. Number 14, that's Watson for a huge play for the Hilltoppers as they look to add more points on the board. They're not happy with that 7-point lead. And there he is, Mr. Chester, busting his way up the middle for a big, huge first down. And Mr. Mo has slid over to the Hilltopper side, and his goal. And did he get in? No. Because the ball, well, they're stopped, and it forces the Hilltoppers have to kick a field goal, and they get it. And the Hilltoppers on the board. 3 more, 17-7, only 16 seconds left in the third quarter. Jariah Griffin with a quick pitch to Nate Stevens. He looks to go outside, but he cuts it all the way back into the other side, crosses the gridiron, and he looks to find a little bit of room as he maybe gains about 7 or 8 yards on the play. And we're in the fourth quarter. Jariah Griffin desperately looking for some big magic that happened to come back to keep the Cyclones in the game. And he goes high in the sky, but this time way over his receiver. And Derek Smith has the interception, and you know what? That's going to make it real tough with only 14 seconds left in this ball game for the Cyclones to do anything. So as you see the clock drip away, the Cyclones lose a heartbreaker, 17-7 to the Hilltoppers.
Let me see ya, hey, with them real big snaps, hey, with them real big snaps. Let me see ya.